Welcome to the Local BS, where we want to hear your business stories. Today, we're going to talk to Josh Landrio with Sedona Water Proofing Solutions. Welcome. Today we have Josh Landrio with Sedona. Is it waterproofing?
Waterproofing
Service Solutions.
Yep.
Okay. We have coming in today, and thank you for coming in. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you can, just tell us a little bit about your company, where it's at, how long you've been in business. But first, tell us about your family.
So I have a wife, Jessica Landrio, and I have my two kids, Molly and Grayson. Grayson's 9 and Molly's 11, and they both play sports. So we're a sports family. He plays baseball. She plays travel softball. So constantly busy with that. So.
And how long
weekends?
You
been?
My weekends are covered up.
Oh yeah. And how long you been married?
13 years.
13 years.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. How about you? Put me on the spot.
Yeah.
How about you, James?
I think 22 years. 22 years. We're old.
Yeah.
We're old. Coming on 23 years, I think. So, yes. Yeah. You live in Harrisburg.
Yep.
Your office is in Concord.
Yep.
And tell us a little about Sedona.
What is Sedona for us that don't have a clue what waterproofing is?
So I'll tell you about the name Sedona too.
Okay.
So Sedona, when I first moved here, I came from Arizona, and so Sedona, Arizona. And when I moved here, I worked for another company. They taught me everything I needed to know about crawl spaces and whatnot. And when I was coming up with the name, of my company, I was going with like Carolina Waterproofing or all these different company names, and I was like, I just don't want to be that same Tar Heel Blue, company. And so just one day we were sitting there and a song came on actually, and it had Sedona in the song, and I was like, God, I love Sedona, Arizona. And I'm like, how can I make this, a waterproofing company name with Sedona in it? But, what could be the motto? So the motto of the company is, keeping your crawl space as dry as the desert, because you want to keep your crawl space, and then people, probably the biggest challenge we had with Sedona was people actually calling us from Arizona and actually being like, we need a waterproofing company, and we're like, for what? It rains 3 days a year, I think there, so it doesn't make any sense. But we'll get those random, once a month phone calls.
Oh, absolutely! It's so funny. We went to Arizona last year, and when we went, it rained. I think 4 out of the 5 days we were there.
And they said
so got those days.
We got those days.
And they're all in a row. And they're like, it never rains, and it rained every single day, every day.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was a tennis tournament too, so they didn't know what to do.
Oh, really?
That much rain coming in.
And everything's out. Well, everything's like 50-50 there. They have some indoor tournaments because of the heat, and then they do have outside stuff.
Oh, it was
too.
all outside.
It was all outside.
Yeah, and it was hilarious because like we never get rain, and we're like, yep, we would have.
What time of the year was it?
Oh,
when did we go there?
July or August?
Oh, geez.
Maybe it was in the fall.
I think it was in the fall.
Either way, it's still hot in the fall.
So how long have you been here from Arizona? Or what brought you here to North Carolina?
So originally it was me and my wife. We were living up north for a little while, and then she found jobs here in Landis, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And that's what brought us here. And then also just trying to start a family. And at the time, back in 2012, 2013, to buy a house was close to nothing then.
Right,
so,
right.
I mean, it's a lot different than today's world. So, being able to afford life and be able to have a family here comfortably.
Are you both from Arizona?
I don't think
so we're originally both from New York.
Okay.
So I lived in Arizona. I have family in Arizona, so I lived there for about 3 or 4 years before, making the move back up north for a little while, and then we came here.
So then you come here and you work for someone that does waterproofing.
Yep.
And you learned everything. That's what made you want to start it?
All?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I had when I met my wife, I told her right from the very get-go, I'm like, someday I want to own my own company.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Speak life into it.
And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, as a guy, you're like, man, I'm going to own my own bar.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go get my own cigar bar or something like that. And then just like, as soon as I got into a trade, I was like, man, this is something I think I can do. Like, this is definitely a good trade. I feel like it's honest. I'm not a car salesman. I love the fact I can go to someone's crawl space and just be honest with them and say like, hey, this is what it is, and I can show you your problems and not actually have to, I'm not trying to sell you on something you don't need.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
so that's what made me like be like just a genuine salesman. But the company I did work for, they didn't really like meet my values. So it was kind of one of those things of me just being like, I don't know where I'm going to go that would meet those values. So let me go start my own thing. And a lot of companies out there, they want to, they want to sell you on things that you might not need.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that like, when I tell my sales guys that work for me, I'm like, just make sure you sell them what they need. I'm like, I'm not trying to hit home runs on customers, upselling.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's just like giving people what they need. And if you're honest and you have good values, I mean, you're going to succeed in any business that you decide you want to get in. And if you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So
I like how you said you had to start something so you could align your values. I think that's good. It's good for everyone to hear that.
Yeah.
It might be you the only one standing for it, but okay, then you go out on your own.
It is. I mean, it's a mindset thing.
Yeah. And when I went out on my own, I mean, like, I didn't know a thing about business.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew crawl spaces. So it's like, I was like, all right, well, if somebody gives me a chance to look at their crawl space, I can maybe eventually, make this make sense.
Yeah. Right.
Actually earn some money doing this maybe, and I didn't think it would grow into what it grew into. I mean, my company's 11 years old now, and who would have known that I would have gotten this far? So, I think right now we currently have 12 or 14 employees.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it's like we're growing. We're a growing company, and I love that we're local, right here in Concord, and we work in a big radius. We cover about 100-mile radius, but I mean, like, the majority of our business is right here in Cabarrus County. Yep.
Do you do mostly residential or do you do commercial?
We do mostly residential. I mean, probably a year, we probably only do about 5-10% commercial.
Okay. So
every
if a
once in
homeowner
while.
calls you, what are they looking for Sedona to do?
What would make them call you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Typically, most phone calls come from like somebody having their termite company come out, and they're looking for termites, and when they went in there, they're coming back out and they got water on their knees.
Okay.
Or
So water in the crawl space.
water in the crawl space is bad. Water sitting in there can build up humidity and moisture. It can get your house to settle and create structural issues. Anyone selling a house, typically they're going to have a home inspector come.
Right.
I would say probably 30 to 40% of our business, we're getting from home inspectors or structural engineers and stuff like that.
Because the standing water will eventually do damage to the home. So you have to go in there and.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, the standing water sitting on top of the soil is just going to create humidity enough to where most homes today too have HVAC ducts inside the crawl space.
Yeah.
So you got ducts running in there.
Oh yeah.
So what happens is like, let's just say water is coming in from the outside, and you are having a pool of water sitting there, on top of the soil or on top of the liner. If it's not going anywhere for a long period of time because the sunlight's not hitting it, there is no, easy way for it to, dissipate. You're going to go ahead and you're going to start building up a high moisture level in there. Well, come summertime, this is where in my industry, come summertime, we don't really need rain or we don't need anything, because most people that don't have crawl spaces that are encapsulated or, have a dehu in there, the ducts themselves will start sweating. And so you just create an issue that's now, not only did that pool of water raise the humidity, your ducts sweating now created like a 3 to 6 month issue in your crawl space that's not going to stop. It's almost like running a faucet in your crawl space all the time. And you don't even, and it's not costing you any money per se. It's going to eventually cost you money because you're going to end up having wood rot and mold, and you're going to have all these things that most homeowners have no idea that's even
I don't even
place.
know. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
So you have a moisture. So what's the percentage of moisture reading that you want it to be in your crawl space versus like the red flag of, okay, we need to do something?
Yeah, so you want the humidity to be below 65%.
Okay.
Above 65% is when you can start getting mold growth, and like a wood moisture reading with like the prongs and you jab it up into the wood. You want that to be below typically 18%, but I mean, like a dry crawl space is probably going to be between like 8 and 12 or 14%. So we've taken like a wood moisture reading that has been 27%, 47%. I mean, some pretty high ones, but when you're taking those kind of wood moisture readings, they usually have wood rot, and, we're sistering joists and we're replacing subfloor and whatnot.
Does it help keep termites out, having it drier, or not necessarily? Does that
Yes.
go hand in hand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's where like a lot of termite companies are offering dehumidifiers and moisture barriers, because it does go hand in hand with their industry. So that's a big push in our industry right now, is getting pest control companies in our industry, which isn't great, but they don't know they don't handle anything else. So they're not handling like French drains where they're handling the water intrusion. They're mainly there when they do have a termite problem. They're going to go ahead and install a dehumidifier to get rid of the moisture, and then that should get rid of the termites as well. But they're not addressing the structural issues. They're not addressing the physical water or why it happened or anything like that.
Yep. So it's going to continue even though they've caused a termite.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So crawl spaces, what else do you service?
So we do basements as well. We do the exterior of the basements where we'll excavate it and we'll apply the bitumen and the waterproofing and the drainage and everything to get the water away from the house.
So if somebody's calling you because it flooded, something like that, you got to get the water out.
Yep.
And then that's where you're encapsulating or doing exactly what you're saying.
Well, in a basement, we can give a customer two options. We can do it from the inside, so we can jackhammer the concrete and put a drain in and put a sub pump in and reconcrete it, or we can do it from the outside where we don't go inside at all and we just excavate the exterior of the house and we just put a membrane on the walls
around it.
Yep. And kind of like a new home build, when they first do it, they put the black bitumen on the wall and all that. So, us being 90% residential, you're digging up the exterior of a home that's probably 20, 30 years old, and that membrane now has dry rotted.
Right.
And
it's probably not there.
Yep. And so we do stuff like that. We do all the structural components. So there's like carbon fiber strips you can put on the wall and steel beams you can put on the wall that will help with structural issues and stuff like that.
Like cracks, if they have any cracks in it.
Cracks, or if they have walls bowing in or anything.
Okay.
So
I have a weird question. What's one of the weirdest things that you've seen or strangest things that you've seen? I will not go in my crawl space. I can't do it. But
so I got two stories. One could go on like probably a whole nother podcast, but so about 5 years ago, my guys were working a crawl space, and we come across bones all the time. Like raccoons or cats or squirrels, stuff like that. So they see bones a lot, and so one day they come across a bone and they're like, "This is not your typical
it's
bone."
Not an animal bone.
Oh, it was a femur bone.
Oh my goodness!
We ended up having to call the police, and we got pushed off the job. We don't even know what happened after that, but it was actually a femur bone, and we don't even know what happened, but it seemed to be a human bone, which was like pretty horrible. Yeah. And then my other weirdest story was on a sales call of my own. Went out to a realtor that I knew. And she's like, all right, go ahead, go in the crawl space. Let me know when you're done. And I have this routine about myself when I go into a crawl space because of just other stuff I've seen in the past between snakes and other stuff.
And now femurs.
So one time, this is kind of where my whole routine happened. Was one time I opened up the crawl door and two snakes just dropped at my feet.
Oh my Lord.
And if there was a camera, I would have felt like I sprung like a cat. Like I was like, oh my gosh. And I jumped back. They just dropped right at my feet, and I was like, oh. And so my routine now is before I go get my crawl suit on or my respirator and knee-pads, I always go to the customer's crawl door and open it, and I take a stick and I clear the cobwebs right there, and I kind of make a little bit of noise to let whatever's know I'm coming. Yeah. And so I did my routine one day, and I'm sitting there at the door and I'm clearing around the cobwebs, and there's a hole in the liner, and I look at it and I'm like, it looks like there's fuzz there, and I'm like, it's kind of weird. And so at this point, I remember seeing the hole and I remember seeing the fuzz. I go get my crawl suit on, and I come back around and I'm looking at it again, and I'm like, I'm not getting in that crawl space. And so I take my binder and I frisbee it right on top of the hole, and this tunnel forms underneath the liner. And it's this huge tunnel that goes all the way to the other side of the crawl space. And all of a sudden, 3 or 4 raccoons pop out the other side, and they're just staring at me. And I'm like, nope. And I just shut the door, and I tell the lady, I'm like, hey, like, I'm not going in there. And she's like, what happened? She's like, there's raccoons in there. She's like, you're not going to get them out? And I'm like, No, if this was my house, I'd burn your house down. I was like, I am not dealing with raccoons. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so do they have to call then, animal?
Yeah, you call like an animal control, and they got to come get them. And I
then
mean,
you would go in there.
And more than likely, I mean, they figured out their way in there, and being that they saw me, more than likely within like the hour, they probably got themselves.
Oh, how long were they down there?
Yeah,
they're this set up shop.
I have one more. So there's a one we did where you don't even realize any of this. You go into the crawl space and all the insulation's above your head.
Right.
Typically, if there's anything in there, they're pretty still. Like, you're not going to hear them, and if they do make a noise, you're freaking out. You're like, holy cow, I'm in this dark, tight crawl space by myself, and you heard something. So, nothing happened. Like, I go in there, I do this whole entire thing, we get the job, the whole works. My crew shows up though. And within the first 100 square feet, so like the size of this room right here, they pulled down 100 square feet of insulation. And in that 100 square feet, they found 6 snakes and they found 8 mice.
Oh my gosh.
So we told the lady, we're like, hey, we got to walk away from this job. You need to call somebody out here and see what's going on, because this is a lot of snakes.
That's
this is
a lot.
Crazy. They pulled out 28 snakes and they claimed her house as a snake's den.
Stop it.
Yeah. And I was like,
were they poisonous? Were they black snakes?
They were black snakes.
How did they all live together?
It was mainly just due to the amount of mice that they had. They were chasing the mice and the food, and then because they were actually like basically nesting there.
Right.
I mean, it was like home to them too. So
attracting all the
but
snakes.
what was crazy was like we just had no idea that was even like above my head as I crawled this whole thing and did it.
How big is the crawl spaces, and how many guys do you have a crew going in there?
So typically we have three men crews
going
that are
in there.
going in there doing the work. And then the crawl spaces vary in size. I mean, you can have crawl spaces 12 to 14 inches.
And they're doing all their work in that tight space.
Yep. So like the shovels we use these trenching shovels this big.
Yeah.
We got this is stuff that I learned when I moved here to North Carolina. Like when someone said I'm going to be using a jackhammer, they're like, I'm thinking like a big 80-pound jackhammer, and they hand me this little tiny like drill with a shovel bit on it, and I'm like, well, this is pretty cool, and that's your jackhammer. So you could be in a crawl space kind of on your side, just chiseling it with a jackhammer, and you got another guy sitting there with a shovel.
Just a little.
Yep. So I would say most of the crawl spaces, because of like current day codes, they want the crawl spaces to be at least like, I think it's like 24 inches.
Okay. And so if you're going into an older home, you're going to see some.
You're going to see some stuff. And there's some older homes that like probably the worst jobs that we get people that like employees that will actually quit on these jobs are dig outs, where you actually go in and you dig out a crawl space because it's not big enough.
No.
And so the only one that I've ever been on that I actually like witnessed was you could only put your fist in the crawl space. That's all you could do. So to bring it
to code, or
to bring it to code, you have to be at least 18 inches.
Okay.
So, but most builders will say 24. Most builders are probably doing closer to 36, because what they do is they'll do 36, over here. And then as it grades off, it might go to like 24 or 18. So it gives them some wiggle. So most of the newer homes, you'll see like a 3-foot door on the crawl space, which gives you an idea. Or they'll dig down the crawl space to give them more room. So, but that even hurts. And this is where a lot of builders and some people don't understand crawl spaces, is that when you dig down, you're creating a basin. So you're creating somewhere for water to be held.
Yeah, just to sit there.
And then you're going below the water level too. So we find that a lot too. Like you'll enter into a crawl space.
And then the water's doing this.
Yeah, you'll enter into a crawl space and it drops down and you're like, sweet, I wasn't expecting to have all this room. But then you realize you're basically playing in water too, because it's where all the water gets collected. So
I didn't know I ever needed you for my house, but I definitely don't want to work for you either. I don't want to be in that crawl space.
No, I mean, employee retention. No. I'd be the first one. I'd be the first one. Nope, I'm not doing this.
Well, we just did our taxes, and we had to have our CPA send us a list of our employees, and we had over 40 employees for the year last year. And I mean, so in that, obviously me only having 12 right now, you could tell the retained.
Right,
I can't imagine.
Yeah. So it's tough. Like we've had guys that will sit at the table and do an interview with us, and it's like,
and
they have this confidence about themselves. That's like, no, I can do this work, and and they'll do it for 12 hours and they'll realize real quick, like
It's a tough job.
It's different. It's a tough job, and it takes a different kind of person to want to work in a crawl space, clean mold,
Yeah.
dig with a shovel. And that's the other thing too, is our work is like, that's where I'm envious of like Arlo Rice and even you with ROOFLIFE. I mean, I'm envious of you guys because you guys have this one set thing that you do, whereas like my guys need to know how to do a French drain, to know how to mix chemicals, to go do the mold and be a chemist for a minute. They have to know how to make this crawl space pretty because your wife is going to look at the picture I give her and she's going to be like, my crawl space doesn't look like that. I want it to look like that, you know? So
all within 12 inches, they're doing all this work.
Yeah. And so, but cosmetically, we need to make things look nice too. So my guys, I mean, I've had some guys that, you know, they can get the functionality to the system down right, but then the cosmetic part isn't
Not their forte.
Right.
Which, as a homeowner, you want
That's
that
the
kind
only
of,
thing you
that's the
care.
only thing you care about, really.
You're
You know,
right.
and
You're
so
exactly
Gotta look
right.
pretty.
yep. So that's where basements get tough. Because, I mean,
yeah.
because everyone can go in a basement. And so you want your guy that's putting the concrete back. We're not a concrete company. We do concrete. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's like,
it's gotta
so
look right.
You got to know how to do the concrete.
Yeah.
You got to know how to float it. You got to know how to do all those things. So we're a mix of like kind of a jack of all trades on what we do. I mean, from using heavy equipment to know how to place, you know, dirt, know how to follow OSHA laws and rules. I mean, like there's a lot of things, a lot of things you need to know. Working with structural engineers, working with home inspectors, working with the homeowners. I mean, it's a lot.
So the last question, what's your customer, your favorite customer? What are you looking for in a customer?
My favorite customer, I would say it's probably one with a 6-foot crawl space.
Right? You can just walk right into you.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite customer is one that always gives me this question back, is they always say, and this is where I know, you know, they value my opinion and whatnot. Is my favorite customer is, what would you do in your house?
It's good.
Yeah.
You know, and when they ask me that question, I always tell them, I said, personally, I hate insulation. I hate insulation with a passion. Like if I could get rid of insulation in my industry, I would. And I'm talking about the batted insulation that is underneath the floors. And the reason being is that if you do have a pipe leak, it saturates it like a sponge, and then there could be wood rot. If stuff is living up in it, you know, that's you know, that's no longer an option, because animals love that because it's warm. You know, it's a nesting ground for them. What we offer is a foam board encapsulation that goes around the whole crawl space, and it meets North Carolina code. So it eliminates the batted insulation, and you put this foam board on the walls.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yep. Looks good. It can't fall over. It's probably going to be there for the life of your home.
Yeah.
You know,
And I would trust you. You've seen the worst of the worst, and you go, hey, this is the solution.
Yeah. It's just, and it's not even that because it's our most expensive option. It's just, it's our best option.
Right.
Yeah.
It is, it's our, and then my question back to you guys would be like, you know, as homeowners I'm talking to would be, you know, how long are you going to live in this house? And if you tell me, well, you know, my kids are moving out, they're going off to college, and we're probably going to sell in 2 years, I'm not going to sell you a foam board end cap. You know, I mean, you guys won't see the value in it. And so I'm probably going to lean you more towards a lower option because financially it makes sense. You might say, you might want to pick that option, and I can give you that option, but I'm not going to push you towards it. But if you say, you know, hey, we still are going to be here, we got kids, you know, still in elementary school, and we're going to be here for 15 more years,
Then it makes sense.
I might give you an end cap and a foam board end cap option, because you're going to save money over the course of time. It is energy efficient. When you seal your vents off and you put foam board on the walls, you're not allowing that warm and cold air to come in anymore and go into your crawl space and meet underneath your insulation.
Yeah.
You're stopping it at the walls. So you're going to keep your crawl space conditioned all year round. You're going to notice your floors being a lot warmer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big difference, you know? So difference of quality of life too. I mean, like, you got a dehumidifier in there acting like your HVAC system, but it's working underneath your crawl space, not inside your house. But essentially it is helping the air you're breathing too. It's cleaning it. It has a filter on it and everything.
Well, I've learned a lot.
I feel like we just started.
Right. Yeah. I can ask you so many more questions. Thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Is your office or your location, is it a showroom?
It is not a showroom.
Not a showroom.
but
Okay.
no.
You don't show that address.
But you can, but I mean, but somebody could stop by if they wanted to. I mean,
Okay.
it's not a big deal. And we do free estimates. I
Okay.
mean, like we come out to their house. Our estimators will come out and actually bring material. They'll bring stuff for them to see and whatnot. I mean, if they want to come back to ours, we can show them more physical material and
Perfect.
whatnot. Yeah.
Sedona, Josh Landrio.
Landrio.
Phone number.
704-960-7906.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks for coming on today.
Josh.
Thank you.
Hey guys, if you liked what you heard today, please like and subscribe. It really helps our channel grow.